Just before it barely got started, Ja Morant's season is definitely over. And for a star guard who many believed would be the face of the league in the coming years, it appears his career is also over. Join me as I walk you through why Ja Morant's NBA career is officially over. Ja returns. Starting the season with a 25-game suspension is definitely not how Grizzlies and Ja thought they would start their season. But if you are an NBA fan, you would agree that it was entirely the point guard's fault. For what it's worth, Grizzlies fans soon realized that it was better late than never when their star guard returned. Prior to his comeback, the team was tied for the Western Conference's second worst record with the Portland Trail Blazers. And they were at their worst for many reasons, even though Ja's absence was largely part of it. For one, they were largely plagued with injuries, or should I say availability, since Ja's absence also counts. The Western Conference team started their season without veteran center Steven Adams, who had season-ending right knee surgery. Brandon Clark, Adams' backup center, was also out injured after suffering a torn Achilles last season. Marcus Smart, the team's newly acquired guard, three-point specialist Luke Kennard, and another newly acquired guard, Derrick Rose, were all out injured. Anyway, Ja returned just in time to lead the team to 4 consecutive wins, the Memphis Grizzlies' most consecutive wins this season. In his first 4 games back, the guard averaged 28.8 points on 50.6% shooting, 8.5 assists, and 5.3 rebounds per game. If there was any proof that Ja Morant was back like he never left, that was it. I mean, this dude led a team that had lost 5 consecutive games before his first game to a 24 points comeback against the Pelicans and scored a buzzer beater.
With a chance to win it in his return. Here goes Morant. He spins. Morant scores! And the timer expires. Count the basket. And Ja Morant wins it for the Grizzlies.
If that wasn't enough, Ja also dunked on Wemby in his 7th game back.
Is able to elevate before Wembanyama can get back. And hello, Wemby, let me introduce you to Mr. Morant. Y'all haven't met before.
Sadly, he only got to play 9 games after he returned, and it seems that while that might be the only 9 games we will get to see Ja Morant play this season, it could very well be the last 9 games we might see him play in the NBA. Why? Continue watching to find out. Season ends. For the first time this season, Ja's return allowed the Memphis Grizzlies to establish some momentum after a terrible start to the season. The Memphis Grizzlies were 6-3 in the 9 games Ja Morant played, as the point guard averaged 25.1 points, 8.1 assists, and 5.6 rebounds. Unfortunately, Ja's season was cut short when he injured his right shoulder during practice, and upon further soreness and instability, he underwent an MRI which showed an underlying labral tear. For that, he is expected to undergo surgery that will see him miss the rest of the season. Honestly, there's no way to spin this, but his loss was a terrible setback for the Grizzlies, who currently sit 13th in the Western Conference with an 18-29 record. I honestly doubt there is a way the Grizzlies turn their season around and make the playoffs. However, while the Grizzlies' problem is just a basketball one, that is for the time being, Ja's problem looks like it won't be going anywhere for a while and might be the end of his NBA career. Can he ever get to his best? Availability, they say, is the best ability, and for a while now, that hasn't been Ja's ability. His current setback makes his unavailability in the past 2 years a continual process. Keep in mind that Ja is in the first season of a 5-year, $197 million contract and has lost about $7.6 million of that because of the 25-game suspension without pay. The 25-game suspension that came after his 8-game suspension, all of which happened because he couldn't stop himself from flashing a gun on Instagram Live. In the words of the NBA, he displayed conduct detrimental to the league. The first was on the 4th of March 2023, just hours after the Grizzlies lost to the Denver Nuggets. After the game, the guard went live on Instagram to flash his gun in a Colorado strip club. The NBA made sure to open its investigation since taking guns on team road trips is a violation of league policy. And after their investigation, he was given an 8-game suspension and later left off the All-NBA teams, costing him $39 million in bonuses from his contract extension. At the time, the guard apologized for his attitude, claiming that he was taking some time away from basketball and that his actions did not reflect who he was. Unfortunately, the repentant guard was caught with a gun again on an Instagram Live video less than 2 months later. This time, the NBA made sure to give him a lengthy ban, suspending him for 25 games. However, while he might have been able to bounce back from all these suspensions, The gun issues are just a little in a series of troubles the guard got himself into in his 4th year in the NBA. Ja currently has a pending lawsuit.
He threw the ball to Mr. Holloway.
Yeah, he caught it by his chest.
During a pickup game in the summer of 2022, Ja Morant and his friends allegedly assaulted Joshua Holloway, a 17-year-old high school athlete, at his house. The high school athlete even claimed Morant's sister joined the fight and began to kick and punch him before Ja flashed a handgun in his face to threaten him. It didn't take long for Holloway and his mother to sue Ja and his friend, Devontae Pack. However, a misdemeanor assault case against Devontae Pack was withdrawn 2 months ago, leaving only Ja Morant with a lawsuit a year after it was filed. During his testimony for the lawsuit, Ja confessed that he swung first at the teenager and that he would not apologize to Holloway for punching him since he was protecting himself. At the moment, Ja's legal team is working hard to have the lawsuit dismissed, but the judge presiding over the case has since admitted that she is not ready to rule on the Ja Morant immunity hearing, which means that while the All-Star guard is out for the season, he still has a civil court lawsuit to deal with. In all of this, it is important to know that while Ja is facing the consequences of his actions, he is also human, and all of this could weigh psychologically on him. Back in 2021, during an interview with Taylor Rooks, Ja talked about how being in a bad place affected him throughout the 2020 experience of being secluded in the Orlando bubble to finish that season.
Overthinking a lot, like I was, getting down, but I don't tell nobody, none of that stuff. Like anytime somebody asks me like, are you okay? I always say, I'm good, even if I'm not. Like, I'm just kind of used to, getting through stuff on my own. So it was definitely tough for me. So
yeah,
not saying I was ready to leave the bubble, but I was.
So I'm saying being one of the biggest stars in the NBA at 24 and having all of this weigh you down could affect the star player we once knew. Besides, his recent injury is a setback that had nothing to do with his behavior, so it will be tough on the guard. For all it's worth, we can only hope he gets back to his best when he returns from injury. However, the Grizzlies? It's hard to know what they would be hoping for right now because they appear to be prepared for life without their star guard. Grizzlies without Ja. 12-26 without your star guard this season, and currently 13th in the Western Conference, the Memphis Grizzlies are bound to miss the final play-in spot in the Western Conference. You should know that despite being one of the favorites in the West, the Grizzlies haven't been to the Western Conference Finals in the past 10 years and could very well count out this season. In any case, many would agree that without Ja this season, they have no chance of getting past the first round, even if they make it to the playoffs. However, at the same time, some Grizzlies fans would agree that while Ja is needed, this team could actually do well without him. Because after all, before this season, the Grizzlies had a .573 record when Morant played and a .607 record when he did not. Since the beginning of the 2021-22 season, the Memphis Grizzlies' overall record, including playoffs without Morant, is 33-17. In the 27 games, including the playoffs that Ja Morant missed during the 2021-2022 season, the Grizzlies outscored opponents by an incredible 376 points. When Morant was on the court, the Grizzlies outscored opponents by 4.1 points per 100 possessions, compared to 6.4 points per 100 when he wasn't. So technically, Ja's absence isn't the main reason they're failing this season, but rather the absence of other key players on the roster due to injury. The Grizzlies' extended injury absences are the reason they've struggled this season, not just because they missed their star guard. For what it's worth, it's in the best interests of the Grizzlies' front staff to swallow this entire bad season and trade their 2024 lottery pick over the summer to improve the roster. In any case, some NBA and Grizzlies fans have offered their opinion about the star guard being out injured for the rest of the season. One user said, "This is an injury that has ended lots of careers. You don't see it in basketball often. Usually football and baseball. Hopefully he heals well." Another user who happens to be a Grizzlies fan commented, "As a Grizzlies fan, I was just starting to get my hopes up. I thought we had a shot, but I guess there's always next year." If you enjoyed this video, the next video on your screen is worth your time.